But I want to welcome with us in our final segment, Mark Altman, who's the founder and trainer of MindsetGo. Mark, welcome.
Thanks, Tim. Great to be here. Appreciate it.
I guess sports and outdoor activities are kind of the theme today. And in between the breaks, we've been talking with all of our guests, and you as well. You're a big sports fan.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, Tim. I've been a freelance sports writer for Associated Press for the last close to 20 years, covering the Boston sports teams. And boy, are we lucky. It is the true city of champions.
Yeah, no, all of New England is spoiled in that sense. Mark, you mentioned doing some of the reporting for AP, but you have your own company, MindsetGo, and maybe you could share with our viewers what the company is all about.
I'd be happy to, but before I do that, Tim, I just want to thank the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm a recent joiner. This is an unsolicited plug, by the way. And the support and the responsiveness, it's been a tremendous experience. I totally recommend it, so I just wanted to say that. So, Tim, people ask me, what do you do at MindsetGo? And I always say that we develop confident and skilled communicators, which of course begs the question, so how do you do that?
Right,
and
right.
I think when it comes to communication, a lot of the curriculum and training I've developed is really in response to how communication has changed in the last 10 years and how people are so reliant on texting and social media and digital forms of communication, which are wonderful and they're necessary. But face-to-face communication, to me, in the life essential interpersonal skills and building strong relationships, that to me is what it's all about.
Right, right. And absolutely, as again, previous segment we're talking about, as technologies come on and exploded, and it's in everyone's hand, having been involved with interviews and engaging with people, especially some of the younger people, they're kind of used to complete communications through handheld devices or iPad. So it's critical, to be effective. And so you've got strategies and plans and trainings on how people can develop that.
Yeah, well, what's interesting, Tim, is there's always been such a fear around, say, public speaking, for example. They say it's the #2 fear behind snakes in life, right? And I think when it comes to communication skills, if you think about the fears that have always been placed, public speaking for sure, but also resolving conflicts, how to approach people and give feedback and receive feedback. And there's many areas where people just don't have the skills or know-how or are fearful of doing it. And what I try to do at MindsetGo when I train individuals or groups or teams with companies is really change habits and change mindsets. Because if you are trained in a new skill or develop new areas for professional development, the problem is once you leave, the question is, what are you going to take away from that? So I try to get to the root cause of what caused the habits they're trying to change in the first place. What are the things we need to put in place to remove the fears so they'll shift their mindset and attitude to embrace what they're learning? And I find that when there's a human element involved and there's not a template-based approach, people buy into that and people appreciate the connection you're making and really embrace learning. And I think that's the biggest part.
In every workplace, every team, there are challenges, problems that come out. It's incumbent upon your employees, your team to problem solve, figure it out. You can't do any of that unless there is confidence and ability to kind of work together and communicate and go through different alternatives. So you put together strategies and work with companies and individuals to kind of train them up, if you will, and have kind of as you said, a curriculum. So if you're a business out there and you're saying, look, how do I get my employees to kind of better interact, communicate, solve problems? If I want my team to be sharper when they're out making the pitch, you can work with companies in that regard.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, Tim. And actually, a big part of what we do, I think, that differentiates us is in the training we spend a lot of time on real workplace simulations and challenges. And so what happens is, if you're a company and you want to get your staff engaged in learning new skills and training, instead of forcing them to go and just telling them this is what you need to learn, give them a voice to express what their challenge or their personal challenges are. I've gone into trainings before where I've done half-day trainings where I'll have a curriculum in place ready to teach and do activities through experiential learning, and I end up scrapping almost the whole thing because everybody's sharing the different challenges, and we'll do role plays and we'll do simulations, because that's what people want. People want to solve the problems they personally have.
Right.
And so I give a lot of attention to that, and I think giving employees a voice into dictating where that training is critical.
Yeah, absolutely, and more buy-in. So you've got a couple, 2018 coming, a full-day new employee boot camp coming up. Want to tell us about that? We got Thursday, January 25th.
Sure. It's really around communication and engagement skills. And I think that one of the areas I really focus on is, there's two words that people, probably the two dirtiest words in the English language, Tim: sales, which triggers so much fear of being pushy and aggressive, and change, because people feel like they have to change, they want to run. And so I think in this boot camp, we're really talking about how to sell yourself as a human being. Because when you work for a company, especially if it's a company that does service-oriented work, they're going to work with you. You're the one that's building the relationship. So you need to know how to influence and persuade. You need to know how to communicate authentically to get people to buy into you and your vision. And I think one of the big things we focus on, certainly in this boot camp and in general, is how active listening and asking the right questions through motivational interviewing are really essential into discovering people's pain centers and needs, as opposed to just having an agenda and talking.